All right, guys. So sorry, Joe. Mike's. Please forgive YouTube. We had an issue, but now, Joe, YouTube is good, right?
YouTube is
All
good
right.
to go.
So we are live today on Instagram and YouTube. That is what we will be doing for now. Going forward, it will just be strictly YouTube. But let me get into one of the items on my wall. Oh, some Gatorade, some electrolytes. Guys, it is going to be very, very hot. Hydrate. So, today, I chose to talk about this book by Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil. And this book, I can truly say, it did impact my life. And I'll give a brief summary and then how it brings me into the topic for the show. Outwitting the devil. If you think about it, it could be self-explanatory, but you have to think deep because the devil works in mysterious ways. And whatever devil, you guys, whoever believes in God, whoever doesn't, that's up to you. The devil could be anything, any sort of negative entity to you, whatever you want to say the devil is. The book's basically about how to overcome comforting thoughts, how to overcome pleasure, how to overcome not making something out of yourself in life because it turns into a domino effect, guys. So today's topic for the episode is dopamine. That's why I chose that book as well because it does work in. So for you who do not know what dopamine is, I will say my version of it and then the correct definition from, I don't know where it's from. I have to check, but it is from a source similar to Wikipedia. So dopamine is basically, it is a neurotransmitter that releases, pleasure to the brain. Um, yeah, that's probably like the best way I can say it. So this is the definition. Dopamine is a primary neurotransmitter responsible for motivation, reward motivated behavior, and pleasure. Okay. So I'm going to start with myself as an example, guys. My life was it was not always like this. My life, I used to live a different way. I used to live life with instant what word am I looking for, Joe? Instant satisfaction, maybe.
Satisfaction.
Yeah. In just feeling good and eating whatever tasted good. Went partying because it made me feel good. Drank because it made me feel good, and all of that was dopamine being released in my brain. And then at one point in my life, it brought me down to a different path in my past life. But I believe everything happens for a reason. And now, my number one mission, guys, you already know, all of my beautiful, beautiful followers, we're going to make a change in this world. Mark my words, guys. You just have to help me along with it. Um, Joe, let's show so, 1 second, Joe. So sorry. So, I actually have 2 videos chosen, guys, okay? So, I'm going to show you an example of what an instant dopamine hit would look like. Joe, you can open the laptop, please. And then just play it from the laptop. All right, I'm going to type in the password, guys, for him. So sorry. All right, and we're in. All right, Joe. Yeah, guys, stay with us because you're here from the beginning. This is episode 3. You are the real ones from day one. All my followers on Instagram, keep in mind, all of this happened in 7 months. I kind of touched on this a little bit before, but anyway, Joe, please play an example of an easy dopamine spike.
Alright. Mood, you guys. Today for breakfast, we're gonna be eating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 maruchanas. I did order pizza, but they said it's gonna take like an hour or so to bring it because school's out and a lot of people are ordering pizza. So we're only eating 10 because we're gonna save some room for some pizza. Let's see. Let you guys take the first bite. Look at that. Oh my god, this smells so delish.
Guys, this. Joe, go ahead. You could double it.
Guys, have you guys ever had ramen noodles with
So
Doritos?
this is an example
I'm telling you guys right now,
of
this is the best combo.
easy dopamine, guys.
Are you gonna take a bite?
This is so sad to see. All right, Joe, I think they get the point. You can close the laptop. Thank you. Thank you very much. So basically, let's put into summary what just happened to him. So during those moments, as he was eating those foods, and I'm sure you guys have seen many of his videos. During those moments, it is very pleasurable to the palate, and that is a dopamine spike. And the point of all of that, showing that, is because dopamine, it kind of is what drives human beings. But the point is, where does the dopamine come from? Okay? Dopamine coming from a source, like I just showed you, from this person who I truly hopes to make a change in his life. Eventually, you get addicted because dopamine is a feeling of a reward, like the definition says. It is a reward motivated behavior and pleasurable feeling. So, if you think about it, isn't it common sense how there could be easy dopamine in many different things? For example, let's use the P word. We don't say that word on this show, right, Joe?
We do
That
not.
that's something we do not believe in. That is an example. Somebody who, there's no words to be said. But guess what? I used to live my life like that when I was younger. I used to do weird, I used to do strange things, put it that way. And after, you get a feeling of sort of, I would say shame. Shame. And that doesn't only go for the example I just said, it goes for every example for, I call them cheat code dopamine spikes. So, same thing for James. Um, Eating this, and guys, he's eaten more than this, but that's another example. One more could be drugs, which I've talked about before. Obviously, anything you could get addicted to is really dopamine being treated for. That's how I see it. So it can be from lust, I could expand. But what do you think happens if you live life only receiving dopamine that way? I'm gonna stop talking for 5 seconds and let you think about it. Okay. So, what I would say is you live a worse life because you don't think that you have to work hard to feel good. You think that you can keep eating like that. That guy thinks he could keep just living life doing those drugs. The other person could just keep doing the P word every day. And they get used to it. And eventually, it leads to a certain point in your life where there's no going back, guys. Time is the only value, in my opinion, that matters. Time in this world, because every day that goes by It's gone. It's written. Okay? So just don't let it get to the point where there's no going back. And for those of you who might be comparing yourself to a point that I just said, got to a certain point where there's no going back, guess what? Right now, in this moment after the show, you can decide to make the change with whatever it is. So start small. That's what I that's my go-to for everything, because eventually it leads to more and more. It's progressive overload. Just like working out in the gym. Just like just progressive overload. That word's pretty self-explanatory. Compared now, okay, let's compare it to somebody that lives life like this. Joe, do you mind showing a video, an example of a video where dopamine is worked for and released to the brain properly? And just enlarge it. Thank you, Joe. Guys, stay with us. Like I said, third episode. Go ahead, Joe.
I'm up about 5 every morning, starts with a run. And that's because that's the one thing I hate to do more than anything in the world. That's like my cup of coffee. And I'm all about armoring yourself. The second you leave your house, and the second you open your phone, the second you do any of that, you are now letting in poison and cancer. So I make sure a lot of things you can't avoid. So as I get up, I start to armor plate my mind and body. I'm waking up and I'm giving myself all this armor. So when I come out in the world, look at that phone, I'm ready.
Wow, fantastic. Joe, you could close the laptop, please. And thank you, Joe. So let's break this video down a little bit, guys. Obviously, that is to the extreme I showed you. So that, take with a grain of salt, but everything he said, I agree with 100%. That's the way dopamine should be worked for. It should be something that you set your mind to and you complete it. It should be something that is challenging but beneficial to your life. That is the way dopamine should be released. Joe, pull up the camera, pull the laptop back up, please, Joe, and replay the video, because I want to break it down a little bit more.
We have some audio issues, by the way. You just got to speak up a little bit.
Okay, for Instagram?
For Instagram. Yes.
Instagram, okay. All right. Instagram, it should be better. All right, Joe, you could play one more time, because I want to really dissect this video. This should be all right. Go ahead, Joe.
I run every single morning. I'm up about 5 every morning, starts with a run. And that's because that's the one thing I hate to do more than anything in the world. That's like my cup of coffee. And I'm all about armoring yourself. The second you leave your house, and the second you open your phone, the second you do any of that, you are now letting in
Joe,
poison
you
and
could
cancer.
pause it and
So
shut the laptop.
I make sure
Thank you so
can't
much.
avoid.
So I wanted to get into this, and Joe, make sure please the audio is good for them to hear for the reaction videos as well. So I want to get into this. Okay, the point he made at the end, that is what I still do to this day sometimes. It's a habit I still cannot break. Wake up, first thing I do is check my phone, because that's the way, unfortunately life turned to be as life goes on, technology, whatever. But so imagine starting your day like that. The moment you wake up, you go on your phone, lay there for 20, 30 minutes, sometimes even more. I used to do it, guys, even more sometimes. And I know people who still do. And that's why I chose this episode, to be honest. So think about what kind of life it would be compared to somebody who lived life doing something, like I said before, that is a challenging task, that you're setting your mind to a goal. And during the process of that entire point to where the goal reaches, that's all going to be dopamine rewarded. That's what it's about. That is the way life should be lived. Because if not, you will not have a good life. So For dopamine, if you think about it, I want to know if you guys agree with me for when I said dopamine is the way life kind of works. Because the reason I say that is because think, okay, let's use some people as examples. Let's let's use a random successful person, no names, a random successful person. Okay, this person maybe struggled through high school, didn't have good grades, whatever it was, whatever the case was, but turned out to be eventually wanted to get into, I don't know, I triathlete training, Ironman training. So he set his mind to something, and let's pick an age for this person. Let's say he was 17. He chose, all right, I want to do an Ironman. Which, by the way, if you guys do not know what it is, what an Ironman is, I believe. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I know for sure it's a marathon. I think I don't know how long of a swim. I really truly do not know, and I do not know how long of a bike ride. But I think timing's 14 hours. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. So, okay, this kid, 17, but he set his mind to I want to uh, do an Ironman by the age of 21. Okay, and during that decision, there's other things that go into it. It's not just only making the decision, obviously. It's you have to change your lifestyle. You have to change the way you're eating if you're not eating good. You have to change the way you're sleeping if you don't sleep. So during this time until the Ironman happens, this, without even realizing, set this person up for success because it in my opinion, which I will die on this hill, because that person would know what it takes to earn something hard. And dopamine from the the feeling of dopamine, the reward feeling after completing something challenging, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like everything else that I said for instant dopamine, instant satisfaction. Okay, so in my opinion, that would set that person up for success. Let's just use an opposite person, and he did the exact opposite lifestyle. Let's say he was some sort of criminal, some sort of mobster, a mafia guy, but not a good mafia guy because they normally, they get away with things. Joe, right? You would say for the most part.
Yeah,
Yeah. So let's just say he went down that path, and that path included, a lot of, let's just say, lustful activity, um, drugs, alcohol, gambling. What else? Yeah, those five things are all instant satisfaction. Okay? So imagine if the kid grew up like that, or until the same age as the other man, the other kid, 17-year-old, who completed the Ironman by 21. So say in that same time frame, how do you think the person, the mafia kid, would turn out? Okay? In my opinion, I don't think good. So let's use one more example because I do believe in change as well. But now, someone that eats grew up eating. Okay, let's use a child who's 5 years old, and the parents, are obviously responsible for this child, and however the child grows up, is what the child is going to think is normal. So, for example, let's start with if um, a mother and a father are properly feeding their children, um, for for a 5-year-old, which could be, Whole Foods at that point, different things. Whole Foods, yeah, Whole Foods. That's it. Getting every single macronutrient. I'm not saying track your calories for a 5-year-old, obviously, but my point is, as time goes on, that child will know what it's like, what life is like, because he will know it's not worth eating food that tastes like that, because look at how look at how it could end up, okay? And during that process, which the next episode might be on this, it's a domino effect. So all of this is a domino effect, even from the 17-year-old to when he completed the Ironman. During that whole process, it's a domino effect during his life, okay, of good things, I would say. And then for the other mafia guy, all domino effect of everything, boom, 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 boom. I would say going down. And if not, you know, the worst yet, it could get there. And okay, so now let me go back into the point of, you know, the parents feeding their children. Okay, so basically that kid would grow up having this mentality, like I just explained. Now let's do opposite, Joe. Okay, Joe. So imagine two parents. Okay, have some. They decide to have children very young, maybe. Who knows the case? And they don't pay attention to what they're feeding their children. They're giving their child processed everything. Joe, cereal, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, candy.
It can be easy too. Like, let's say a parent, they'll just go through a McDonald's drive-through.
What a point. What a point.
They don't have the time to, or they can say they don't have the time to cook, so they just see a McDonald's, a Burger King, a Wendy's, and they go right through the drive-through.
Yeah, and let me expand on that point, because that is true. But if that's the case, you know, those people could still choose to get something healthy. So still always try to go for the healthiest option. But Joe, what a fantastic point, because yes. And that is something how when I have my children, which I cannot wait until I have a family of my own, I will, God willing, raise my child very, very well. But, so, you guys, I'm sure, understand the point. That child would grow up probably at a certain point, let's say 12, because I said the two kids, Joe, were 5. That was the example I gave. Let's say the kid would be overweight, probably at a certain point, unhealthy, already, certain issues. I don't know what it could be, but don't even take the risk. How about that? Don't even take the risk.
This reminds me of a story my mother used to
Yeah,
tell.
Joe, just talk close to the mic, 'cause it's the only thing, okay? All right? Yeah. Yep.
This reminds me of a little story my mom told me. Not really a story, but my mom told me this a couple weeks ago. She used to say, when I was younger, God forbid we didn't go through the Burger King drive-thru and I didn't get my chicken nuggets. I would throw tantrums. This is around the time I was 4 or 5 years old. And every time she tried to feed me healthy, I would just refuse. And I would only eat chicken nuggets, peanut butter sandwiches, and just a bunch of nonsense.
And that is because Joe, when he was younger, I've known Joe. He's my cousin, by the way. I think, we've told them before. He used to be a different person as well. Changed his life. He used to eat. That was his issue as well, eating. He would, just like he said, ate exactly what he wanted, not what his parents would suggest. So, do you understand? Try to understand the big picture, okay? It's a domino effect. I want to go back, because I call this the weave, okay? Because I was just talking about something else before that I remembered I said I would bring back, and it was this. I believe in change as well for every single person in the world. Everybody. But the only thing is that you have to do it. That's the only thing. You have to do it. Action, action, action.
Of course.
You have to do it. So, this is the whole point of this is dopamine is the driving factor of life, guys. And at a certain point, God forbid, don't ever let yourself get to a certain age where you can't go back. Because I personally know somebody, Joe also does know this person. I know somebody who, a beautiful human being, didn't go to school, he started living by himself at 14 or 15. Dropped out of high school, didn't know how to read, ended up being a success. But there was a few things in his life that he should have done differently, is what I would have done for my child. Okay? So let me expand on that, because unfortunately, this person cannot move as well anymore because he's 90 years old now. Joe, right?
Yeah,
About
90.
who we're talking. I don't want to say names, guys, for keep it anonymous. It's a little personal, private. But so one day, I was sitting with him and I was eating, and I just look across, and in those moments when we're eating together, we're talking, but the whole time he is shaking in pain, but still talking. Ooh, I just spit. But in that moment of us having dinner together talking, we're both in the same exact place at the same exact time, saying the same exact thing. And there's nothing that the person I'm talking about, the 90-year-old, can do about how he's feeling, how he's shaking, because he's already there. And when I remember thinking this in that moment, I can never let I cannot let something like this happen, and due to what happened, well, for certain issues it was other things, for let's say more health issues, but with the no movement, he didn't pay attention to the diet, didn't pay attention to exercise, didn't pay attention to building muscle, because guys, at a certain point, if your body does not have muscle, it relies on your joints, and that's how you end up not being able to move, not being able to walk around well. That's why muscle is very, very important, and for many other reasons as well. But that's not what today's about. So that David Goggins video, that was I chose that video one because he is also, isn't he on my wall too? Is he? No, he was. I changed the books up, but I do have him there because he is another person who changed my life. You guys, I'm not gonna talk about his story. You could go look into it. But like he said, the first thing that he does when he wakes up is something that he hates. Imagine that in your mind. Actually think about it. But hold on, not just hates. He knows it's going to benefit his life. So now I'll let you think. Joe, let them think for a second, just so they can understand. Try to understand it on their own. Okay. How do you think he feels, David Goggins, after, I don't know how many miles he said he ran, but this guy, I'm pretty sure 12, 10, a lot. He does a lot every single morning. And he does 2 hours of training. He does what we just saw in the video. How do you think he feels when he's done? How do you think he feels? There's 24 hours in a day. And 4 of those hours for David Goggins was pure pain, discipline, willingness, dedication. How do you think he felt when he was done? He completed everything and he has the rest of the day to relax. Don't you think that would make somebody feel amazing and want to embrace that lifestyle? Yeah, I would. I definitely would. So, like I said, that was an extreme example, but for you guys who are either just getting started or, got to a certain point where you wish you weren't, it's okay. Either one of those is okay. What are you not gonna make a change? Like, just gonna give up? I mean, just like say, all right, whatever. Let's just keep living like this. I don't know about you. That's not how I think, though. That's not how Joe thinks, though. I don't want to speak for Joe, but Joe, am I correct?
You are correct.
Yeah. So Joe, guys, the mics are over here. So Joe, they didn't hear you. Sorry. Joe said what I said is correct. That's the whole point of this, guys. And you know, it is a domino effect. So that will be the next episode. That is what the next episode is going to be. And really think about what I'm saying. Actually think about it after this episode's over. Joe, if there are any questions, let's get into some. Right now, no. So let's all right. Let me talk about this. Hold on, guys. So I'm gonna use myself. Am I in good? Joe, can I be seen correctly? Everything's okay.
I would say okay.
All right. And these photos right here. Okay. So I'll tell a little story. And this right here is or are the first shorts for my competition ever. And this is not a winning reward. I didn't win. I lost. But I'll get into that. Okay. Oh, this is untied. We will fix that after. So let's get into this a little bit. Guys, I have been saying I would compete probably for 1 year and a half. Okay? And at this point, when I had, put it in my mind that I was going to compete, at that point, my life was already changed. I was already in this mindset, but that put me into a different mindset. Even the process, because that's what it's about. The process is what it's about. I'm going to use my example right now because I want you take what you can get from it because I did not win. I didn't place. And I know why I lost. And don't worry, I'll be back. So the reason why, I have all of this stuff here is because it was my first show. And, well, I should say this stuff. This is for that reason. And these shorts are for that reason. It was my first show ever. Mark my words. I will get my pro card. That is my goal. But the whole point of all of this, guys, so the prep for this show, it was 5 months. And that was, I'm not going to get into the sport of bodybuilding, but it was way too long. And at one point, I was like semi-starving myself because it was my first show, keep in mind. And also I was making sure I was ready. I was trying to make sure I was going to be prepared. So I did literally whatever it took to remain in the prep and to complete the show. Now, was I upset that I lost? Yeah. Did I cry? Yeah, by myself. No, I actually cried with my uncle, Uncle Joe. That's who I cried with. He came backstage. I put everything into it, every single thing, and I did not have a coach. So during this whole process, it was just building more motivation and more discipline and willingness during the whole prep. But the day of the show day, all of that was for that one day. I remember the moment because it was a 6-hour day for the show and it was 2 shows I had to do. Well, I had to do an individual walkout, okay, on my own, an individual walkout. Then I had to do an amateur show because it was my first competition ever. And then I had one more. It was, I think, weight class and height. Anyway, I lost both. The individual, you don't get graded. It's just for, showing your fans, your family. But I remember the moment I lost, instantly, I was very, very, very disappointed on stage. I have a video on my Instagram. And actually, look, Joe, that's the moment. Guys, this is the moment I lost. Where I thought I was going to place. But I know why I lost. And the judges eventually got back to me and told me why. This is the moment, and I remember feeling that feeling of I'll be back. And even thinking like that releases dopamine to my brain. What about that? What about that? Seriously. Even thinking about that releases dopamine. Because I know nothing will stop me. Nothing will. But the moment the show ended, I remember, like I said, the moment the show ended, it was that picture. That's the moment, Joe. You were there. Joe was there, guys. A lot of people were there. Thank you, everyone, for coming. It was a few months ago. And first thing I did was that. Then I went backstage with my Uncle Joe, cried in his arms for about 10 seconds. And then I remember feeling dopamine, feeling rewarded. I remember feeling accomplished. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I can't even explain it. I can't explain it. And that's because that is something very serious. But this could go for anything. So I'm just using this as an example. This is something I have a passion in, but I don't want to talk about. That's not what this is about. I'm just using it as an example. And even though I lost, I have no regrets because I gave it every single ounce I had, everything, and that's the reason why I have this up here. Um, yeah, even thinking about those times, it's very emotional because during that whole process, like, it's you and yourself. Nobody's no one's training with me. No one's posing with me. I got a posing coach the last month right before the show. Let me tell this story very quick, Joe. You know about this story. So, guys, the poser, my posing coach and the routine we went through, it was not the routine that was allowed on the show, and that was my fault because I didn't tell my coach. So I didn't see it, I guess. So the night before the show, I had to learn a whole new routine, and that was a devastating night. Very emotional because during this whole process of cutting, like, it's hard. You're starving yourself. I still have to do cardio, train. I still have to work, live life. But anyway, so that story. There's so many points to it. You could pull like little things out of it. Domino effect, the way to get dopamine, setting your mind to something and actually achieving it. Yeah, and for everybody who's here tonight, I truly thank you guys. This is almost 7 months. On Instagram, we gained 95.2 thousand followers in almost 7 months. On TikTok, we are at almost 8,000 in 1 month and a half. YouTube, YouTube has very been it's the hardest. It's been the most difficult because I don't really post long form. I'm gonna start doing my show on YouTube though. Um, but yes, this happened in 7 months, and at a certain point during the guys, like, it didn't happen. Not it's like I posted one time and I took off. No, I was posting consistently, nonstop for definitely 2 years. Joe, would you agree to that? Talk to. So, guys, the mic's over here. Sorry about that. Joe, you know what? You could actually bring them towards you because we don't need the laptop anymore. Yeah. Yeah. So, Joe, but basically, you agree with that,
I do.
Yeah.
100%.
So, yeah, but I never gave up. I remember, like, during a certain moment, guys, like, I quit my job almost 7 months ago to do this, what I love. This did not work for me. This did not work for me. Zero. Zero, 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 zero. Zero work. But a certain point came where I got depressed, and my brother, who you will see one day on the wall behind me, God willing, or I might have him on one day, but I stopped posting at one point because it was going nowhere. For literally a year and a half, Instagram was 175 followers for a year and a half, and even to you guys who are trying to make it, do not stop. So keep going, okay? It doesn't matter. Don't compare yourself to me right now to what I'm saying, what I did, because I know some people might be watching me who post and only have 500 followers, for example, and they've been posting for longer than me. Don't give up. That's the point. Don't give up. And I actually made the mistake, and I gave up. At a certain point, I was like, this is a waste of time because I was putting so many hours into it, so much time and effort, and it was getting nowhere, going nowhere. So I basically stopped, for like only about 2 weeks, and I was thinking about getting another job, actually trying to go to make money. That was a mistake because I stopped doing what I love. I stopped doing what showed me how to live life correctly. A nutritional diet, a healthy life. And my brother talked me back into it. And here we are. Ep.3 of the Domenicricc Show. Streaming on YouTube TV. If you asked me this question 1 year ago, if I would be here, I would. How can I ask that question properly? Joe, try to think. Like, how could you say it? So, I am so grateful. I take no credit. Joe, try to think. I'm trying to really say something, like a specific question. None of this is me. It's you. It's you. And for me, I believe in God. I don't. You guys, it's up to you. You're your own people. You don't have to. You do whatever you want. I just want to help you. But to the question, what I was kind of trying to say was, I think it kind of slipped my mind now, but I'm pretty sure you guys understood the whole point. And yeah, this is just the beginning, guys. This is just the beginning. We're going to be going live, the Domenicricc Show, every Sunday in the morning or afternoon. We don't know if we're going to do 11, 10, or 12 yet. We're going to test those times. And I'm always going to make announcements, guys, on my social medias. We're going to be also going live Thursday nights, 7 o'clock. So today's Monday. Normally, we would not. All right? Also, something else I'm very happy about. I don't know if you guys see what I'm wearing. Also, right here, I am having my own, if you want to call it, clothing brand, Joe?
So, yeah.
Yes, right?
Merch.
Yeah. I don't love the word merch because to me, wearing this it's a sign of I believe in you. I believe in the mission. I believe in, it's when you wear this hat, for me, because to me, what I do is very special. It says something to people. Maybe someone will ask me, why does your hat say go time? And I tell them because it's go time right now. I'm in go time. All right. Joe. So guys, right now we have pink jacket. Also this one, it's a little tight. Go time. If you know me,
A little closer to the camera to show everybody.
Oh yeah, here. You know what, Joe? Do you mind showing the camera?
Of course not.
So I will upload these to my website eventually, but for now, just message me, Joe. Just let me tell them, either on my socials, TikTok or Instagram, if you guys are interested. And there will be many, many other things, mugs. There will be. We're gonna do probably, shakers. Joe, what do you call those?
Protein shakers?
Yeah, protein shakers, pump covers, all things like that. My beautiful followers, my beautiful viewers, without you, none of this is possible. Let me put this hat back on because this is what we believe in here on the Domenicricc Show. Guys, thank you. I'll see you in the next one.